Starfield official introduction. The fighter fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at 80.5. He's 27, stands at 6'1". He fights out of Simkin Martial Arts and hails from Litchfield, McDermott. He's 28, stands at 6 tall. He fights out of Stone Fight Factory and hails from Congleton, Craig Young.
The second of our two title fights on the line here in the middleweight division as we see Craig Young in the black and white shorts from Stoke Fire Factory, 4-1 against Don McDermott, 3-3 from SMAA in the blue shorts. And a fast and furious pace to this one, Dave, at the start. Yeah, this looks like a great bout on paper. Trained down with Craig, aggressive guy, good stand-up, the solid all-rounder. Don McDermott, haven't seen him before, but coming out of Simkin Martial Arts, should imagine he's got a good ground pedigree. Coach Neil Simpkin over there, very, very respected BJJ black belt. So, yeah, a very interesting bout on paper. Craig's an aggressive guy. He's got some good head kicks, spinning back fists. So, as I say, looks a very interesting matchup. Young looking for the position here. We saw it in the Van Hoof bout last time out, then now head position, and it's just so difficult, such a difficult position, such a fatiguing position as well for fighters to work in. McDermott does well to reverse it.
And also you're looking at the fact, Dave, you've got the bigger guys here in the middleweight division, so it's going to be harder for them to keep that pace up, and this is, like we say, a very, very fatiguing element to the sport.
Referee Neil Hall taking a close look at it, maybe looking to separate the guys. Just before he does that, Young able to reverse the position, now looking to run the pipe for this single.
Got hold of a single, he may just try and pick his man up and go for his trip there as he does. Very nice trip and take there, Dave. Yeah, fantastic trip from Young, ending up in this top position, but I mentioned before, McDermott coming out of the Simpkin gym, I should imagine, Ben, he's got some tricky skills off his back, and he's down there in front of his own corner as well, which is always an advantage, especially in the grappling exchanges. Young doing well just to keep his man square. Neither man really offering a lot in terms of offense from this position. McDermott's showing a tricky guard, as you speculated, though, and looks to throw the legs up to try and set up a potential triangle. A lot of options from the fighter at this point. If he can slide that leg down, yeah, he might have Young in a lot of problems. Yeah, difficult to see from our vantage point. I think Young's got both arms in, but very difficult to see from our angle. But yeah, as expected, McDermott very tricky on the ground. Ten seconds left. Looks like he's going to see it out. Bit of confusion there as time was called. Looks like we have a malfunctioning air horn. The footage. Excuse me. The fight going on a few seconds extra in that round. So, I'm just going to see what the commotion was down there in the corner. Yeah, it's certainly a broken air horn. But back to matters on the fight. Close round, very difficult one to score. Because although Young had the top position, Ben, he was in trouble for a lot of that. Other than that, it was a very close called thing on the feet as well. Young maybe being a bit more aggressive and pinning his man up against the cage. So a difficult one in the eye of the judges. But yeah, as we expected, Ben, extremely evenly matched here, and that's what you expect from a Rage in the Cage amateur title fight. Real back and forth from both guys, but you make a good point, Dave. I mean, McDermott really threatening with that triangle near the end, and you get the feeling that as much as the time ran out, and obviously Young heard that there was the time left and he could kind of sit in it a little bit, it's certainly given food for thought, I think, for Craig Young going into this round, that McDermott has got a lot of tricks off his back, and it's certainly
getting him to the floor is one thing, but making something of it obviously is seemingly another ask completely.
Yeah, Young's got good tie, and he's opened up this round with a couple of low kicks, and maybe that experience on the ground has led to a bit of a change. Maybe his corner team have said to him, let's try and keep this stood up and try and work your tie this round. He's got good strikes and nice right hand there from Young. Definitely looks the more technical of the two on the feet for me, Ben.
This is McDermott, who pushes his man up against the cage. Would like to ideally link the hands, but the underhook on that side really keeping Young in this at the minute, as he looks to prise his man up and round if he can get him, and he does, and throws a nice knee as well.
Yeah, good work from Young, just prizing his man up there, using that seatbelt, and now we're back in a familiar position. Yeah, McDermott there almost, well, basically did Ben. He jumped guard, which shows the confidence he must have from his back. And now we're in a similar position that we found ourselves in the end of the first, but he's going to have a bit more time to work now, McDermott. But then again, Young is in top position. It's a real catch-22 situation, isn't it? It's a very, very closely contested bout. Referee Neil Hall just warning the coaches there for just traveling outside of the coaching area.
It's McDermott from the bottom, David. Looks like he's locked up a body triangle, and now he's let it go. But we see that quite a lot. I mean, often seen as somewhat of a stalling position from the bottom. There's not a lot you can do in terms of offer an offensive threat from the bottom with a body triangle locked in. And from Young's point of view, I mean, you talked about McDermott pulling guard as he did there. A very risky thing to do in an amateur bout when you are looking at shorter rounds. You really have got to make something happen. If you do jump guard and end up on your back, you have to work constantly, because it's a short time frame you're looking at that the judges are observing.
Yeah, it's an extremely big gamble, sorry, to work that off the ground. But he is endangering him, but is he endangering him enough to say that the guy on top is in constant threat of a sub? Because that's what you're looking at from a judging point of view, excuse me. It is an extremely difficult one tactically from Don McDermott in what he chooses to go forward with, and now he looks for the armbar.
Locks it in once again. I like the fact that at the end of both rounds he's really committed to the submission.
Yeah, good defense from Young. Just crossed over his hands. Didn't look in too much trouble from there. I think if time continued on, he probably would have been able to just shimmy his elbow out, but McDermott shows again just how dangerous he is off his back. And you know, not to reiterate what we've just said literally a minute ago, but this is going to be the conundrum for Don McDermott. He looks, I wouldn't say overmatched in the stand-up, but I think Craig Young has stronger tie than him. His kicks look a bit more crisper, looks a bit cleaner in the strikes. He also looks a little out-muscled when the guys clinch stood up, but he does look extremely dangerous off his back. And the thing is, it's 3-minute rounds in amateur MMA, so it's such a difficult amount of time to work that. You know, you go back to the start of UFC when Royce Gracie was taking people out under no time limit. You know, the jiu-jitsu guys want as much time as possible to work, and in 3 minutes of amateur MMA, it's very difficult to pull out that sort of game plan. If you don't sub the guy, it's very difficult to get the nod on the judges' scorecards.
You make a very good point with that. It's a real conundrum. Like you say, unless you're offering it.
Nice low kick again from Young.
As you alluded to, Dave, with the Thai background coming into it with those low kicks and a nice jab behind it as well. And this threatening to turn into a real firefight, which I think will suit the local fighter more.
Yeah, although to his credit, McDermott, he's throwing out. It looks a little more crude, but he's very aggressive with the strikes, and he's managed to get the clinch position here. And who knows how those first 2 rounds went, Ben? This is an extremely close one. Scheduled for 5. Low blow there. Referee Neil Hall steps in, and they give him up to 5 minutes to recover. Fighters ready to resume. Nice right hand from McDermott. Does seem to be finding his range a bit better on the feet now, Ben. I think it's because Young's abandoned the kicks. The low kick was finding its way. As I say, that lands on, but nice right hand from McDermott.
And McDermott's really finding his range now, Dave, you're right, with the straight punches. And I think that transition really shows that Young was really feeling that there. I think what McDermott's done differently for me, Dave, I think he's mixed the shots up. Yeah. He's not just throwing a 1-2, they're coming in from angles, there's uppercuts, there's hooks. He's mixing up, he's throwing the odd kick himself. And I think this is really giving Craig Young a lot to think about at this stage of proceedings. Yeah, it's the aggression as well. When McDermott comes through with a lot of aggression, Young's just struggling to deal with it. He's just moving back in a straight line a bit. I think it's the corner team down there of McDermott just, you know, really spurring their guy on and trying to get him really aggressive moving forward with the punches. But now we're back into this clinch position against the cage. Really close rounds to score this, as we've talked about previously. Craig Young with a lot of forward pressure, but Don McDermott has shown danger. Once again, he's jumped that guard, trying to get that guillotine choke with nothing in it. And there's the danger that we spoke of, Dave. I mean, he's in a really precarious spot now, and if Young can just free himself a little bit and slam his man at canvas, he's on top, and he's on top in his own corner. Yeah, it's such a difficult game plan to employ, but looks like a nice sweep attempt there from McDermott. Maybe looking for the triangle now. Triangle choke, it looks like he's locked it on. That looks very, very tight. That came out of nowhere. What a turnaround from McDermott. Young's toughing it out, but McDermott has this locked in tight. If you can just adjust the position and get a little bit more of an angle. And that's it, he's out. He is out. His man out cold. Wow, fantastic performance from Don McDermott. We mentioned the risk of jumping guard, but when you do get it, Ben, wow, that says it all. Ends up choking Craig Young out cold. Credit to Young, extremely game performer. But the gamble paid off for Don McDermott. Fantastic submission victory here at Rage in the Cage. I think McDermott threatened every time that he jumped, every time he was on his back, he was constantly attacking. And what we see a lot realistically is the fact that you're right, Dave. I mean, you've got to make something of those opportunities. And the difference was that why that submission came on quicker than the other and why that one worked and the others didn't is, if you notice on the scramble, he set it up with punches. When he was there on the bottom, he threw a few short shots. Craig Young was a bit disorientated and was defending the shots, and then the choke came in, and McDermott, credit to him, locked it on. What a finish, what a title fight here at Rage in the Cage.
Too late in the first two.
Minus to the center of the cage, please. Minus to the center of the cage.
Seconds. Yeah, that's right. It was out of a 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes, 52 seconds of the third round, your referee, Mr. Neil Hall, calls a stoppage to the fight, declaring your winner by technical submission, Don McDermott! Please show your appreciation for Craig Young. Middleweight champion, my friend, how does that feel?
Okay, amazing.
Well, listen, right from the beginning, you caught a couple of punches straight down the pipe, which was really good, and then once you was against the cage, you were trying knees against the cage as well. Was that part of your tactic to close the distance down?
Yeah,
I leave the rest. It was all the way through. It looks like a solid fighter. Near the end of the first round, you nearly got it where you were attempting to get him in the triangle. How close was that? And then in the second round, you had a good game on sound. It looked like you were focused more on the ground rather than straight back pace.
I'm standing on the ground and standing with
Also, at the end of the second round, you went for the arm bar, and you nearly got it in the round ended. But with the third one, you kind of got him in a triangle technique, and it wasn't at the end of the round, and you seemed to have time to deal with it.
Right now. My number. Right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dom, the middleweight champion. Please show your appreciation for Craig. Thank you.
Right now.